VineTalks, be fruitful.
Welcome to yet another episode of VineTalks. My name is Ronnie, your host, and I'm absolutely honored to be back with an amazing guest who I'm going to tell you about in a short while. In the meantime, remember to follow us on our different handles on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. Like I always say, follow the like button somewhere here or here. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend to do the same. So at VineTalks, it's all about being fruitful. And the whole idea is I host different trailblazers, different people who have achieved in different aspects of their lives, and see if we can pick a leaf or two from them. And today is no different. The lady I'm going to be hosting or interviewing is called Esther Kalenzi, and she has an amazing story. So let's just jump straight into it. Welcome, Esther.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
All right. So Esther Kalenzi, I know who you are and all of that, but you need to tell us who is Esther? What are you all about? Why are you here in my chair?
You called me. I was there minding my own business, and then Ronnie called me.
Yeah.
I am the founder and team leader of 40 Days Over 40 Smiles Foundation, which is 4040 for short. It's a non-profit organization which is youth-led and works with underprivileged children, specifically to support them in their learning outcomes. So reading, writing, and expression.
Yeah.
We know for a fact that literacy rates in Uganda are low, but imagine for a child who either comes from a single parent family or even has both parents, but they cannot afford an education.
How much lower?
Yes, so they'll go to schools, but then they have poorly trained teachers who want you to pass exams. So no one is concentrating on your reading. No one really cares about your confidence, your talent, your skills. And that's where we come in. We try to nurture them. We try to support them. We try to encourage their self-awareness for them to just see themselves as full individuals, not just their background, not be defined by their background, but who they really are.
So I know you have been, or 4040 has been in existence for about seven years and counting now.
Yes, it's about 7.5.
Are you able to measure how much impact you've had or how many children you've been able to reach out to? Do you have any parameters to know if you're succeeding at what you're trying to do?
Yeah, so you know our story, and in the beginning it was just, we are trying to save the world, so that these children, and we are trying to support them. And so from the beginning it was just like, make whatever small difference that you can.
It wasn't about the numbers.
It wasn't about the numbers, but over time we've reached over 3,000 children, and this has been physically through the programs of literacy that we support, through the medical camps that we do, but then also through constructing dormitories and buildings that are now used by so many children within the community.
So Esther was wondering why I invited her to the set today.
Tell me, Ron. Tell me.
I know you, with all of this that you're doing, I've watched you, I've been to some of the fundraisers, I've been to some of the events that you guys have done, and just wowed by the ability to mobilize numbers and young people, and you guys built a dormitory for some kids, and then you're talking about so many other things. And yet when I look at you, unless there's something I don't know, simple girl, simple profile. I don't know if you have connections, because some people think maybe she's a cousin of the first lady, maybe she's this or that.
I want those connections if anyone is watching.
So what I really want to do is understand and sort of unplug Esther. Because a simple girl who had a dream. So I want you to take us to the beginning.
Okay.
Where does this come from? Had you always wanted to do this? What did you grow up wanting to do? Because this seems to be your career path now. I don't know if you have a job outside of this or a life outside of this.
Man, you have a life. You guys have a life.
Tell us.
Gosh, that's such a packed question. Okay, so when you say what I'd always wanted to do, like so many children, I had all these dreams that kept changing: actress, air hostess, I don't know, pilot, movie star. And then along the way, I think I tended towards journalism because I loved to write. I loved reading. I loved books. I loved words. And but at the back of my mind, I don't know if like when I started to think that, okay, now I'm understanding what's going on, I used to watch a lot of Oprah with my mom. Now, you know Oprah Winfrey, like she was all about giving. Today it's a scholarship, tomorrow everybody gets a car, you get a car, you get a car, everyone gets a car. But then I was mostly touched by the stories of like, you know, black families that had nothing, and then now suddenly their child is going to an Ivy League school, or she's building them a house, and I was like,
When I grow up,
this is something that I could do with my life. This is something, and not even just like entirely my life, like just a segment of it, like I can give back. But like many people, I thought I'll be a billionaire like her fast, and how long is that going to take? Yeah. So anyway, in 2012 during Lent, I sat down. There was no like magical moment where I saw the Holy Spirit speaking to me.
didn't hear a voice saying, Esther.
No, I was just at home after work one day, and then I'm just like, okay, so when it comes to Lent, usually we don't eat meat on Fridays. People choose their poison, their one thing, and for most people it's either
Somebody forego this,
yes,
alcohol, whatever.
no alcohol, no sex, no. So I'm just like, what am I doing? Like I can live without things like this. It's just a small sacrifice, but what more can we do?
That will have tangible impact.
Yes, like for someone who actually needs this. And I used to spend a lot of time on Facebook, and I just came one day, I got to work, opened my laptop, and just started a page and called it 40 days over 40 smiles. Now the point was like, for 40 days, let's do something and create over 40 smiles of children somewhere in the world somewhere. Then I started to add my friends.
What stage were you in life at the time?
This was my first real job. I had finished university, done a couple of internships, been unemployed, and then finally got a job.
Right. And what path had you taken?
It was in advertising and marketing, and not as a preference, but I had failed to get a job in journalism. So now I said, whatever is available, guys, I just want money.
I just want money.
So yes,
So
I opened.
Yes,
I opened a page. 40 days over 40 smiles. Add friend until I don't know how many. And then I just sat there and I'm like, so who are these children and how are we creating these smiles? So I'm just like, give clothes, give blankets, give books, and you know, call this number.
Oh, that's now on the social media page.
Yes, I'm just putting like information, yes, about the group. So what's this about? Or we are collecting stuff that we shall give out over Easter.
Okay.
Clueless as to where, when, who, which, but we are doing this somehow. And so it was a very slow process. People liked, people came and said, oh, this sounds like a great idea, give us more details, but then went on with their lives, as social media usually does. And then finally people started to ask me questions. Like, who are these kids? Just like,
who are we contributing for?
They're out, they're out there, they're somewhere. So now that pushed me to find out the info. So I had seen a friend of mine who I had gone to school with posting about an orphanage she had visited. I asked her for an address, she gave it to me, and one lunchtime I went over. Now what happened was, it was in Chevando. It was like a house and then like a compound, let's say like a football pitch, and then the road. So the border dropped me, and then I start to walk towards the house. And these kids from nowhere come and run, and they're hugging me, and I'm like, but isn't this how kidnaps happen? You don't know me, I could have come to rob you. And so they grab me and they're walking me, let's take you to mom. I'm just like, I guess I'm going to mom. Yeah, so we get there and I'm talking to this lady and she's telling me her story, and I can see the house is really like not in the best condition, but the kids are smiling. In no time I was Mommy Esther. I'm like, guys, no one has ever called me Mommy
Esther.
Okay, maybe my dolls in their hearts, but I'm just like, what's happening? So she talks to me, she tells me about their needs, she tells me about what's going on, how these children came to be, and I was just like, wow. You know, like you think about your privilege now and then, and you know, I have clothes, I have food, but until you're put in a position where you can actually see it for yourself, it just sounds like another story. So I told her, okay, I'm planning to do something. Don't keep your expectations high. You just, wait for my call. See what no, you've told me your needs, but it might happen, it might not. You know, I didn't want to promise what I couldn't deliver.
So you get back to your desk.
Get back, I'm like, 90 kids. This is the place, they need all these things, give a list of items. Now the people who are asking suddenly blue ticks, like, where are you? He seemed so interested, now I have the information. But then along the way, another friend of mine is like, oh, we look after this home, they're called Make the Children Smile, your 40 smiles, much made in heaven. I'm just like, another one, let's do this. I didn't think about the workload, I didn't think about how crazy it was that I was one person trying to do all this. But then I was just like, we're going to do this. So anyway, fast forward, it was like 3 quiet weeks of likes, and this is a great
Comment, hey,
idea.
soldier,
Oh,
always support
nice.
you.
Wow, Esther, that's
Great
so
job,
great.
how commendable.
I was like, okay, but the things.
Yeah.
And then along the way, I started to get calls. Oh, I have a mattress. Oh, I have clothes. Where do I drop them? I hadn't thought that far.
Okay.
I sit in an office where my boss is just staring at me right there. So where am I going to put these blankets? But you know what? Fake it till you make it. People would call me. I go downstairs, get the things, put them under my table, and then just continue work.
And your boss is thinking, okay, so
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah, he's waiting
Why
for
do you
me
have a mattress
to
under
have
your
the
chair?
conversation. I'm also waiting for him to ask, but none of us is really.
Alright.
So I was saved by a workmate
Yeah.
who had a bakery downstairs that was under construction, and she said, you know what, use my space until further notice. So what happened is I would pack the stuff there, then at the end of the week borrow my mom's car and ferry it home. And this continued for like a week or so.
So you had a sort of store now.
Yes. And then people would be like, oh, and if I want to send money, I'm just like, send to my phone. So fast forward, and by the end of the 40 days, I had like a full garage of things and 3.1 million in cash.
Wow.
That I had collected. Now, again, being superwoman without a plan, I'm just like, how do these things get
Do
there?
these things get to the place?
How do I take people there? Like we said, oh, Easter, but So I used part of the money to hire a chef who did meals for both days. And then the other money was to buy like flour and beans and like home
Things to
groceries.
carry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then started telling people, if you're available, Good Friday and Saturday. Good Friday, we are going to Chebando. Saturday, we are going to Natete. That was the other home.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is that I had friends from every part of my life. I had friends from primary school, from secondary school, from university, and people I had worked with, all coming together with one common factor. They knew me, and they wanted
So
to
you were
just-
the common denominator?
Yes. Some didn't know each other. They just, oh, Esther, yeah, we're going to Esther's
yeah,
thing.
Esther, let's go. Yeah.
So we meet at Tuskys Makere and carpool. So everyone who had a car, you take 5-6 people.
Wow. Who are you entering my car? Esther's
Yeah, okay, let's go. Then the truck full of stuff.
Okay.
And so the first time,
So about how many people were
so
able
on
to
both
show up
days,
first?
on both days, I had between 35 and 40.
Wow.
And on day 2, some were the same people,
Yeah.
and others were new ones who had not made it on
Yeah.
Good Friday, because you know some people go to the village or
Roughly
whatever.
about 70 people
Yes,
at least
in
would come
total.
on either day.
Yes. So now when we get to the first Chebando, now for me, I had already felt my feelings the time I visited these children. Now it was the turn for all these
For the
people to
people to
feel.
experience.
Yes. So this time there's like what, 7 cars, and we're all coming out of them. And then now, at least for me, there were just a few kids. Now all the 90
All the
kids
90
run
come out.
and just grab everyone, grab a leg, grab a hand, grab whatever, and
Hug
just
whatever
hug.
you can.
Oh my God, like the emotions were palpable. Yeah? Like everyone was feeling it in their own way. For the ones who maybe had lost their parents and now could see children they could relate to, that's what they were thinking of. The ones who have had a great life and never had to worry about luck were also like, oh my God.
Wow.
Then I just looked around and I could see tears flowing down. All ages, all genders,
sexes.
like everyone is just, and I'm just like, okay, how do
What
we,
have we done?
yeah, how do we break this into fun? Like we came here
Fun
to
is
enjoy, please, not tears. Yeah, but it was a beautiful day. After all that, we went, sat, took the stuff, introduced ourselves, played games, ate, danced the whole day. Like by the time it was time to go, no one wanted to go. We were all just, yeah.
Wow, what a day. So what was it like that night? Just going to bed, having, started a dream from nowhere and seeing all you had achieved that night?
Yeah. So first of all, I was like, we did that. Yeah, like it has really come to life. It has really happened.
Yeah.
I was exhausted to
So it's
like
40 days later from the
yes, yes. I was exhausted. I had bitten much more than I could chew in reality because I was trying to do everything.
All on your shoulders.
Yes, but I had fulfillment. Like I felt what fulfillment feels like. The children were excited. My friends were happy. We did something, like we could actually see the joy. And for me, it's not even like, oh, we've saved them from their misery this one day, savior complex. No, it's just that they have had a good day.
Done something.
They have
You said you
enjoyed
received
themselves.
a lot of feedback, a lot of mail from
Yes.
people.
So a lot of many of my friends started to send me messages saying how this had impacted them. But I remember specifically, I won't say his name, but he knows himself, who, well, he's those people he does not like openly show his emotions, you know. He will do something for you, and if you try to even say thank you, he can block you, like just go with the flow, just leave me. So he sends me this heartfelt message about how he was impacted by that day and how he will support this because he sees the value of what we are doing. He has never done anything like this in his life. And the truth was, none of us had, you know, like we had been we had people taking care of us. Now we are here looking for jobs, hustling. Everything is me. It had never been about someone else. So when I saw this kind of feedback, the next day we went and did it again in Atete, and I'm just like, I think I want to do this. This is something, no, whatever scale, small, large, I want to do this. And so I think Sunday or Monday, I sent a message to everyone who had come, and I'm like, we're going to have a meeting on Thursday. It's going to be here, be there. And the people who came became the team. Just like that. Like there was no...
the back of something.
Yes, there was no, oh, you're the one who's good with money, treasurer, you... No. You're here, there's work to do, let's do it. Yeah.
So fast forward, you had a job.
Yeah.
You carry on with your job. What happens? Family always supportive of this, and looking 7 years down the road, things you've done there. I mean, do you have funding? Do you have, paint the picture some more.
So I did have a job at the time, and I was trying to do everything. So by day, sending out messages, oh guys, we have a 5K campaign, we are trying to raise money for ABCD. Then by night, I'm completing a proposal, for work. Then at lunchtime, I'm sneaking out to take posho, you know, to the kids, and then coming back and trying to finish the workload. So it was not sustainable. It was manageable. You'd be stressed half the time, and you're awake constantly, night and day. But I mean, you chose this, So another time I'm just like, we'll do this maybe Easter and Christmas, but there was never a chance for that, because now that these guys had seen we could do this, they'll be, oh, school fees is now due. Oh, can you imagine this child broke their leg? And I'm just like,
so you became manifest
wow, this is what parenting feels like. I was not ready. I really wasn't ready. But I think what helped is that there was support. Like there were people who were willing to give, and they were not exhausted. Like you'd be like, oh, now we are trying to raise. I remember specifically this child. He's a little boy. He was so sweet. He needed surgery, and then they asked us for, I think it was a hernia. And then we had a doctor friend who knew someone who said, you know what, all I need you to pay for is the anesthesia, and I'll do everything else for free. But still, it was like 200K. I'm just like, this is not much money. But it was much money in the end, So I just go to the group. I'm like, by then there was no WhatsApp, so Facebook inbox. Like, guys, we're trying to raise money in like 10 minutes. Oh, I'll send 5, I'm sending 10, what? Surgery happened that day. So I'm just like, people are willing to do these things. They just need guidance. They want someone who will take them to the next level. They need a bridge, and we were that bridge. So what happened was I continued to do this, but then it was taxing on everyone concerned, and then also I felt like this is where I belonged. So this, of course, my job was paying the bills, but then the fulfillment was coming from elsewhere. So almost 1 year and 8 months later, in September 2013, I decided to make the plunge. I did not discuss it with anyone because I knew they'll talk me out of it. I used to go home, hang with my parents like as if nothing was happening, yet I had already typed my resignation letter, and I was just waiting for the moment. And then I went and had a conversation with my boss because I thought it was important. He had supported me when he found out what I was doing, when I had to run out to do things. Yes. And indeed, when I went and told him, I think it's time for me to go to the next thing, he was like, I saw this coming. Like, this is where you belong, just go.
Wow. So over the years, you've done so many other amazing things. You mobilized the team to build a dormitory. That's a story for another day. Maybe you can
2 dormitories.
Where do they find, your link, whatever they can see the rest of the story. But what I really want to know is, one, do you have any external funding? Do you have any big organization behind you now supporting you? Because I came to your last event, and the dreams that you have, things that you want to do, it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, where's the money?
Good question. Our dreams are way bigger than us. they are bigger than this time. Yeah, they are bigger than everything. At the moment, we do not have external funding. And one of the things that has been really amazing about this journey is that I started with a Facebook page. I started with my friends who then invited their friends. And then along the way, we sort of created a community. So we have supporters from all over, Ugandans in the diaspora, other people who have heard about us, Ugandans who are here. And because we started here, we started on Facebook, we started on social media, and just getting the common man, yeah, Ronnie, you and I coming together, you have 10K, I have another 10K, this makes 20K, let's do something. It sort of became our comfort, like we would always come back to it. So yes, we've written proposals to all those organizations you're talking about, we've hit the corporate path, you know, I have talked to people's PAs who then switch off their number or don't come or are just like, what, 5 million, who, me, I said that when, how, do I know you, you know, and suddenly you're like, so I've been reduced to this, yeah, I'm going to chase one human being for something that he said, not under duress. He probably even offered before I asked her, now suddenly this is what has become of me. I'm just like, no, this is not going to be it. So we realized that we had a great support system in ordinary Ugandans in youth who were willing to support. So we've had plenty of fundraisers, we've had social media campaigns, we've had platforms that people who pay subscription every month. And while it's difficult to get 10 million from 1,000 people instead of from one company or from one organization, in the end, it has gotten us out of our comfort zone. We are constantly innovating. The events that we used to have in 2012 are not the ones we have now. Yeah, the
Basketball events.
yes, we had basketball. There was a time when we were dreaming and we'd have like 6 events in 1 year. We were mad because now even just one event after a quarter, you're just like, you know what, let's do this again next year. Yeah, but until while you're waiting until next year, where is the money going to come from? So you have to sit back and say, so what do people like these days? Yeah, what's the market like? Let's figure this out. Yeah, so it's been really difficult in that sense because ideally money solves like 80% of the problems. Yeah, once you have the money, you can pay stuff, you can, you know, actually deliver on your promises. But now if you're focusing your time on fundraising, by the time it comes, you're already exhausting, and now you're implementing. So in that sense, it has been quite a challenge, but at the same time, if I'm still here talking about this 7 years later, then we figured it out somehow.
There you go. Yeah. So I'm just going to one last question. Yeah. Every time we read articles, it's all Esther Kalenzi, wonderful story, blah, blah, blah. The TV interviews, it all seems like, you know, it's all rosy, it's all together. Yeah. What's been your lowest moment? As far as 40/40 is concerned, have you wanted to throw in the towel?
There have been several. There have been several low moments. Specifically this year has like, you know, there's something about the number 7. Yeah. It was just like, you know what? You think you knew, yeah? You think you had undergone, I don't know, fear and all these things. Yeah. Nah, it's now, it has gone another. So I'll start from the beginning of the year itself. You know how you're out of December, you're excited. Usually what I'll do is like pay office rent for 3 months till like Feb, because you never know what's going to happen in that season. And then we get to the end of January and we are planning for the graduation for our interns. And I look at our bank account and nothing, like absolutely nothing. And I'm just like, how and when did this happen? Where was I? Was so busy figuring out everything and didn't plan for what's going to come. Yeah, we are broke. Several important members of our team are moving on to other levels in their lives and stepping down from their duty. So now you're vulnerable financially. Then your support system is also,
it's been real, but
yeah.
Here's your thing.
And I'm not going to tell you, please stay, don't go, I need you, give me 1 more year, because what if 1 more year is not better than this? How am I going to guarantee your satisfaction? I can't. And so as a human being, you also have your own personal issues. So I just felt like the whole world was crumbling, you know. It really affected my mental health. I found myself in a place, I'm saying it in past tense, but it's quite kind of present as well. I found myself in a space where why? Like, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I suffering here?
Given it 7 years,
Yeah,
surely
like,
I've done my part.
yeah, I've done it. I tap myself on the shoulder and I'm like, you tried, and if things have failed, they have failed. I remember in the past years, my mom kept on telling me, you started this, you can end it. It's you. No one did this for you. You did this, so you can end it. So that would come back to the back of my head. But then I look at my team. To the extent that I had a meeting and then I just told them, guys, whatever dreams you have, like, half them, and after half them, quarter them, and then those are the requisitions I want to look at, because there's no money, and until point D, like, wait until I tell you, yeah. And like, even then, like, if you said you wanted to leave, I could not hold you back, because I'm okay, so we're offering you a position, or what am I going to tell you, yeah. So that, along with even the work of, like, you see the beneficiaries sometimes are taxing you, you know, you say, oh, we'll come here at 2 p.m. every Friday, then after they're like, oh, we have a test. Just like, but you had all the time to let us know. We've asked you for your program, we know your schedule. And so you just feel like everything is falling apart. And you might have people, but then it's very lonely at the same time, yeah? And even if there's someone who's going through a similar experience, they're not experiencing it the way you are, yeah? And I feel things, like I really feel things, yeah? I invest my time and emotions, and so when it comes back, it's also in equal measure. So I felt like, wow, you think you're superwoman, but you're really not. And there have been many moments like that, but at the end of the day, you realize it's bigger than you. So there's Esther the person, but there's 4040 the organization. And while I might be leading it, there are other people who have now bought into it. There are people who are benefiting from it. Yes, and I need them to see my vulnerability and understand that I am failing, I am falling, but I'm not going to give up. And so if I expect you to deliver, then I also need you to fall and fail and cry and mourn, but then wake up tomorrow. And then let's fix it, let's soldier on, let's continue to make this difference, because that's what we signed up for.
Wow. As we bring this to a wrap, I'd like you to look into the camera. One, I'm going to ask, tell the people how they can follow you, find out about 4040, whatever support they can give. We'll be happy for this audience to do the same. But I really want you to talk to a person that's listening, that has a dream, that wants to do something. Because here you are, local Ugandan problem, local solution. All of your funding is from Uganda. Majority of it is from the youth. None of it is from the corporates, from individuals. How have you been able to do this? I'd like you to talk to what I call it nuggets from Esther. And for this part of the set, I'm going to walk